that showed non-glacial conditions in the coastal regions of Antarctica. The terrain profile and physical features matched closely the seismic survey maps that we have today. Next. To operate a flying machine is a great privilege. Knowledge of flying is most ancient, a gift of the gods of old for saving lives. Babylonian law book, well-known, serious law book. Don't kill, don't steal, here's what you do about flight, blah, 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 blah. What was that doing in a Babylonian law book? How did they map from 36,000 feet projection the coastline of Antarctica that was under ice? Now here's another worse dilemma than that. Supposedly, as I mentioned to you, the evolutionist says that we were in an ice age for millions of years in the past. And it has been only very recently that it has melted back to where it is. So how did a primitive people do what you have just witnessed them doing? And again, I have to tell you, there are other maps that are very, very specific. Babylonian law book, it has a law. It's telling you to watch it. Next. The Epic of Etana, written somewhere more closer around 2400 BC. This was a children's story. The Epic of Etana, Sumerian, Babylonian, and it talked about a little boy, Etana. And this little boy one day was out playing in his backyard, so to speak, in the Mesopotamian valley. And little Etana, while he's playing, he hears this plop, 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 and then kaboom! And right in front of him is an eagle. And the eagle has a bad wing. And Etana comes over and goes, "Oh, you poor little eagle." And the eagle goes, "Yeah, I broke my wing. Can you help me?" And of course, the little boy goes, "Yeah, I'll help you out." You know, so the little boy loves that eagle. And he brings it food, and he sets its little wing, and he makes that a happy eagle. And then the story goes that one day the eagle came to the little Etana and said, "I'm feeling very good now. I need to go back and be an eagle." And the little boy started to get real sad, okay, because he loved that eagle. Well, the eagle saw the sadness, and he said, "What can I do for you?" The little boy's kind of just scuffing around. He said, "I know. Would you like to jump on my back and go for a flight?" And the little Etana, "Yeah." Okay, children's story. So, kid eagles don't talk. So, the little kid jumps on the eagle, and the eagle takes off, and this is the story, okay? I'm not making this up. The eagle flies, and he gets up, and the little boy sees his home in his backyard, so to speak, and some of the other little village homes and stuff like that. And the eagle, he's just having a ball. There's this person and that person. He's having fun. The eagle says, "Hey, you want to go higher?" The little boy goes, "Yeah." So up he goes again. The epic continues. It shows now his city and another city and another city where his dad trades and goes to. That's where Dad goes and comes back again. And there's this other place that doesn't like us. And then the eagle says, "Do you want to go higher?" Now, have you figured out this is not a children's story? The eagle goes higher. And now he can start to see areas outside of those cities. And he starts seeing desert area. And he starts describing these things. And the eagle keeps saying, "Go higher." Till this young kid describes the curvature of the earth. And describes land masses relative to the curvature of the earth. And it just so happens that his description of the curvature of the earth and the land masses perfectly arranged the way he describes it was not verified until around 1964, when one of the experiments that we sent the guys up to rotate around the earth, you know, in our new little rockets, that was one of the experiments, was to find out, to put yourself in the projection that they assumed that Etana was in, and see if you can see the curvature of the earth, and they confirmed it. So this kid, this author, was describing flight outside of this Earth. He was describing flight at the level of your space-suited men. And they, again, let me emphasize this, they did not confirm this, that it was correct until they got up there themselves and could see. Because you could only say mathematically where things could be, but you can't be certain until you're there and can project down on it. And this was written right around here. All right, next. Sequoia bird. There were a bunch of bird objects that supposedly were discovered somewhere in the 60s, 1960s, and they were discovered in Sequoia, Egypt. They had been found in a tomb. They brought these birds in, and here is a picture drawn relative to what the Sequoia bird looked like. Now, they had a little Sequoia bird made out of a type of sycamore wood, very lightweight, like balsam wood. 1.11 ounces is how much this weighed. It has wings that are 7.2 inches, 1.3 inches for the nose. The rest of the fuselage was 5.6 inches. It had a vertical stabilizer with its own horizontal stabilizer here. That's a vertical stabilizer and horizontal stabilizer. A perfect tapered fuselage. The wings were counter-dihedral, and their camber of the wing was perfectly cambered for flight. They made one of these birds, and it's similar to a 131 transport plane that we have today, capable of flying about 60 miles an hour and carrying heavy loads. It is a plane. It's a plane. And it was found, dated in 200, 300 BC in Sequoia, Egypt. The Egyptians had this model of an airplane. The modern Egyptians, when they found it, labeled it as a bird, but in actuality, it's a plane. Next. In Colombia, 1956, the president of Colombia was going to send some of his jewels and stuff around to the museums on tour. And one of these items was hooked to a chain. It was meant to be a little bracelet chain-like thing that somebody wore around their neck. The individual was a pilot and a specialist in avionics and aeronautics, and he looked at this and he took this out and had this evaluated by the Air Force. They popped it into the computers. They took every bit of the dimensions. Here's what they found. Again, another perfectly tapered fuselage. Delta wings that were centered behind the center of gravity with a very rigid horizontal and vertical stabilizer capable of receiving a rear-mounted engine. There's a jet. Okay? It's a jet.